Hi, everybody. It's Chef Allen here, and what I want to talk about in this video is an explanation of what I've been hinting at. I've been giving some hints on LinkedIn, even on Facebook over the past a couple of years about a lot of the um, caption, subtitle transcription work that I've been doing at SAP over the past, I would say, 4 years. Mainly for about 2.5 years, about 2 years ago. Actually, right up until COVID hit. And then the COVID has just allowed to continue this in a different way. So, it all began back in before 2018, right actually before 2019. In 2016 and 17, um, I kind of took over some tasks of some colleagues who had left on maternity leave, I think, and was looking into how to um, deal with videos of like internal how-to videos. And I was also doing how-to video voiceovers for a lot of our product videos at the SAP Paris office. That was called The Voice because I did a lot of those. And I was also doing some videos, internal videos, so other external customer videos for product videos. What's new, kind of every 3 months, a product, new minor version came out, and just what's the new about it, and the major version, all that. That was the voice part, and then and then another part was about the um, that was human voice, kind of for the videos, and then I was also making and doing some other. Uh, the other thing I did for the colleagues that left on maternity leave were kind of how to do internal videos for some of our internal tools that we're doing for some of our uh, internal products, and creating the how-to videos for those. And some of the colleagues have been scripting that and doing the videos. And I had done, even before that, had done products about, even got a SAP award about this in 2012. But I called it the the internal productivity tools or tutorials for beginners and geeks or something like that. And that was so I had a lot of background doing the video stuff and working with scripting and all that for videos and voiceovers and all that. And so in 2018, I had the opportunity to do what we call a fellowship, which is basically a kind of a 6-month project you want to go do in another team to help another team. It's usually kind of learn something new in a new field or a new kind of role that you don't know. But for me, it was a deep dive on something I was already working on, wanted to get some more work on it and not have to be working on a bunch of other projects at the same time too. So it allowed me kind of really focus about 80% of my time for those 6 to 7 months on kind of this kind of project. And I don't want to go into what I did there detailed. I just wanted that I was able to kind of focus on some things for 6 to 7 months on video production with voice production and really do some really cool stuff with that and with our scripting of videos. Because I was doing like 40 or 50 voiceovers of these product videos, the 3-minute product videos, 3 to 6 minute kind of product videos for probably 2 years. So, I mean, that's a lot. So it's quite a bit. So I was seeing how what we need on a bunch of different, not just one product, like several products. So I was kind of doing that, and I was wanting to see how they wanted to optimize this and do it. And I was also part of this. There's this we got a speech kind of speech technology network at SAP. That I'm kind of in that. I've been in for quite a few years, and been kind of been involved in that too. So so that finished that fellowship, that 6 month, 7 month period actually. I came back to my home team. Well, I was actually doing 20% of my home team anyways, but I came back to my home team and I said, hey, I want to start a service. I want to turn this into something. I want it to be more than just a thing I did for 6 months and we did a couple deliverables, but I want to turn this into something that will really be cool and really serve a real need. And I could see that the whole thing of caption, video caption editing was a big need. Um, and we could use, and we have an internal um, video platform. We called it SAP too in the beginning, but I think that probably caused some legal problems. So it's got another name now. But um, and I'm on the advisory board of that too, of that video platform. I'm number one user, I think, at SCP. What I'm told of the video platform. So It's kind of like a SnapTube if you want. It's kind of like YouTube, but I'm the number one user, and I do a lot of testing, and I actually help them test a lot too during that period of time. Test the new versions coming out, and all this caption editing, subtitle editing, integration that's in it. It's not our. We don't build it. We license it, but we kind of re customize it a little bit. That's all. So I was a heavy user of that, or I have always been a heavy user of it. But that 6-month period allowed me to do it. So I come back to my home team and I said, I want to make this into a service. And my goal was, I started with my home team actually, in 2018. I was actually doing this in 2018, during that time. And what I was doing is we have these, division meetings, town hall meetings, all hands meetings. What do you want to call these things? They're not department meetings, or team meetings. They're when you get up to kind of a certain level, of your department, overall department meeting, and then you get a division meeting. What do you want to call your things, all the way up to your top organization? What do you want to call? Everybody's got their own names for departments and divisions and all this. So I'll kind of simply use that. We have a different word for it in SP, but that doesn't matter. I'm just going to use the one that everybody knows, right? So it's not department level. But I did start with the department level, kind of test the waters. And what we were doing is I wanted to see how long it would take me to be able to do because we have this SAP tube, if you want, this internal platform has it can create captions. It'll generate a captions file with timestamps, which display, it's automatic speech to text, okay, English. I'm doing also in English right now. So it can generate a caption file, an SRT file, that displays, and it's all time segments and all that. That's all great, with the speech to text, automatic. And every video that's uploaded does this automatically in English. Just doesn't matter if the video is not in English. It's going to just attempt to understand it's in English. Okay, and we're talking thousands of videos per year. I mean, tens of thousands of videos per year. So that's a lot. All kinds of videos. And it generates that. Then it also generates a transcript file, which is a text file, which is basically the same thing, but it's not time segmented. It's just paragraphs. It figures out that that's about a paragraph, and that's about a paragraph. Just by it stops by pauses and figures that's the end of the sentence by pauses. Just kind of simplify this. But this is a sentence level thing. It's not a time segment thing. Okay, we get these time segments and stuff. And so it does both. And there's an editor where you can go in and you can edit them. You can edit the captions by the time segments. And then when you make the changes, it's easy to view, and you can see it kind of displayed in the video. It's all kind of integrated. And then when you edit that, it updates the transcript file as well. So that's really cool. Okay. And the transcript files are people that want to kind of scan through something. They don't want to watch the video again. But so that's kind of an offline reading thing. It tends to be. And that's where you can do all kinds of things. And in the captions, you can actually tag, say who's speaking, change the speaker. There's all kinds of little things you can do in this. And you put a little annotation of music or clapping or whatever, and you can do all this stuff too. So that's all possible. But the thing is, you can actually edit it directly in line with the timestamps, and it's pretty easy to use. You can split things you want to split. You can merge captions, split back captions. You can do all this kind of stuff. Okay, so my goal was to do these town hall meetings of our department about every 6 to 8 weeks, and to see how fast I could do it. And I was using an older version of this too, because I was comparing an older version and a newer version. I had a good idea for the older version, the previous version of 2017-18. I had an idea of how long it would take me, and these are all 1 hour meetings, right? These are 1 hour meetings. So I knew how the range of time it would take me to do the 1 hour caption editing. And think of this as monolingual post editing of speech to text, okay? And I had a background in post editing and machine translation, so it's just I'm applying the same principles that I've been writing about for 20 years. So I'm just applying the same kind of principle that I've done before just to a monolingual environment with a different type of system. It's not a text-to-text translation system. It's a speech-to-text for one language. But it's still, you're dealing with generated, you're dealing with computer-generated content creation, whether it be monolingual or bilingual, and you're editing it afterwards. So you're just a different type of system doing it. And they generate similar types of errors, okay? So that's just the same thing. Whether or not one's speech and one's text, okay? Or one's speech to text and one's text to text. It's the same kind of errors. They're same kind of repetitive errors. So I don't know, probably about 5 to 7 of these 1-hour sessions in the beginning. And I got to kind of the thing, and then I said, okay, this is how much time it takes. I kind of packaged it. Said, this is how much it's going to cost, right? And then they were just rolling out, and I knew it was packaged. I knew the timing, how much it took today. And I don't want to give too many of the the details here of that, because it's kind of stuff that I don't want to get into things that I can really I don't want to give details away, because that's not the goal here, because that gets into this. I'd have to get a lot of approvals and stuff. I just want to talk about the general concept here. And so I decided, okay, I got this package down. I can actually offer this as a service internally, not to our department, but to all of the high level divisions, just all the high level divisions, because they have needs for broadcasts of their high level town halls. And usually what they'll do is they'll pay for live. There's an external provider that can provide external live captions for the hard of hearing. Right? The quality's kind of, because the people aren't subject matter experts that are doing this, and they're doing it over the phone. But I have worked in a lot of these departments, or all these different orgs, okay, not just departments, a lot of these different orgs. I know a lot of these products and the names. I'm internal, so I can get access to like the outlook, the names of people. I can do this, and I don't want to do live captions. I want to do replay. So all the replays, I want to make the replays really top quality. The replay videos, they're kind of sent out the next day, not the next hour. So it needs a little time. So I offered a service. We went for it. And made people pay for it. Made people actually pay for this. But I had to position the timing and how much I had to package it. So it was, I didn't want to make people quote on this. I didn't have to people give me the thing, I'll tell you how much it's going to cost, because that's just it. But I would just kind of get familiar with I'd say if you got any examples, of the previous ones, I just want to hear it. I just want to hear the voice of the person. I want to kind of get familiar with this. And I can kind of guess what the errors are, because I've done like a lot of editing with this tool, so I know what it can do and the errors it produces. I just want to hear someone else who's speaking. I want to get their voice. I want to hear their voice. And I'll kind of guess how long it's going to take me to do it. Okay, that's pretty accurate. A lot of non-native speakers do. They want native speakers. Some are, but many are not. And some of these things can be not just one person talking, but it can be each vice president or something, or directors they get their 3-minute pitch. Let's set the pitches, or a round table or something, or the end of the year achievements, and just kind of wherever going around. So you can have a mixture of different voices too, and all this. It's kind of really fun. And they're going to be citing all people's names, product names, all kinds of stuff. And this is the kind of stuff that the systems don't like, right? Because these are named entities. These are people, place, things. Product names, project names, people's names, all this stuff. This is the stuff that machine translation, automatic translation system have problems, and speech or text have problems. They all have problems with this stuff, okay? So this is the fun part of it. So what happened was, this is all these different divisions are all having their 3-month cycles of their division all hands or town halls. And then they can have some product. They had some Q&A sessions, a lot of open talk and Q&A, open QA, or dialogue sessions, or little mini presentations, or 30 minutes. So it's a bunch of 30 minutes, 60 minute, 90, 75 minute, 90 minute. They're all kind of, timed. This is how long it's going to take. We're going to do. And so I just started doing a lot of those, and it just went wild. I'll tell you, it just went crazy. Because once you do one or two really well, then everybody else they all tell each other, and they're all telling other board all these different board areas. It just starts doing. Everyone starts picking up on it, and within like 2 months, one of the comms. These are all comms people, the communications people I'm contacting, the employee communications or the division communications. People that are organizing these meetings. So I said, I want to have everything about you. I want your collateral. So. And these are things they won't actually give to the external people But I've said, hey, I'm internal. If you want the service, you got to give it to me because I'm not going to do this if you're not going to give me your speaking points, your talking points, the names of the people that you're going to know. So I would get basically all I'd get the special PowerPoint that's for the people speaking, right? Because I need that because I'm going to be actually doing the cleanup of the speech or text of what the person's saying that's right on the screen. So I'm going to I want to copy and paste it. I want to listen to it and clean up the thing. I want to actually copy and paste what they said if it's making a bunch of mistakes and stuff that's hard for it to capture. So I got that. Then, of course, they would be citing people's names, and I can look at people's names in the org charts, so I can get that immediately. I can have that. I have that. And project names. So I can do searches on our internal portal, no problem. This is the thing that people doing like captions cannot do, get enough access, and even if they could, they wouldn't have the time to. So I can do this quickly for a replay video, right? For a replay. And the result was, I'm trying to remember here what we did here. So for the first one here, I'm just kind of looking at the what we did here, the number of for the initial one for our department, what I did is I did 16 video subtitling requests that had internal budget. And so it's basically I did 612 minutes. That's 10.2 hours of content that I had to process. And I ended up doing that was this was during the Q3 and Q4 of 2018, and then so what I ended up doing was doing 57 hours of for the 10 hours of video, I did 57 hours of editing time, so 34 through 400 minutes. That's about 7.2 days of subtitle editing time for those two quarters. And then when I decided was to take it further because that looked really good, and I got down to how actually the ranges were. I gave ranges. I knew how much time it would take me to tune the voices and all that. I could kind of get it pretty close. So that's why I took it wide to all these board areas, these high division areas. Hey, let's scale this up. It's all just me, okay, just me, not anybody else helping me. And so we turned this pilot into a pilot service, and like I said, it was all these Q&A sessions, town hall meetings, all hands meetings, anything. These are all 30, 90 minutes, okay? I got to read my notes here because I got some notes over here on my phone. I'm doing the video at the same time. And what happens was we did that in Q1 to Q4 in 2019. And it was actually the end of Q1 that we started doing it. And by the time Q4 came, I was getting so many requests per week. And I was charging, okay, and I wasn't charging cheap. I'm saying I was not charging this cheap. I was charging full price. But the quality, I'll tell you, was 99.9%. Because I had access to all the content. I had access to things. I had all the notes. I had all this. I had access to people's names. And I was actually making little files of going down through org charts. I'd just make a text file of all the people's names 3 levels down from the top level. Because those are people that get decided. So I'm going to have all this in just one place. I'm not going to go searching anymore. I know. And they're going to be something to do it for some boarded areas several times. I know what all these names are. I'm getting familiar with the names. But I have a little, notepad file that's got all the people's names going down 3 board levels. Top level down 3, 4, 5 levels. So the people most cited in all these different board level meetings, whatever top-level division marketing, what do you want us to call these things? Not all the individual departments down 5 layers, okay? That's not what we're doing. So I'm not going to get all the people's names down 5 layers. Don't need to. That's the people, they're not the ones getting cited. No, referenced up higher. Not always. It happens once in a while. It's no big deal. I want the most frequent stuff. So I was kind of organizing this, and really well. And as time went on, I began to accumulate all this. And then I was doing all the change in the text. And the fun thing was, so the second round was those 4 quarters. I didn't do the first, time around. What I said I did. I did 16 videos, right? On the second year, I did 43 videos. And basically that was 1,400 minutes of editing, post editing. Basically 23 hours of of editing, okay, and of video content for that, and then I had 7,100 minutes of 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 editing with 118 hours, basically 15 days, okay, of subtitle time. And so those are kind of mixed because some of them was the older system, some of the newer system, and there was some that was video audio content and all that. So I had I'm just going to say this is a lot of content. This is a huge bit of the content, and some of them were repeat business from the same board areas or same divisions. So I was getting repeat customers. So I'm getting a repeat content that is same names, same product names, same product names, same this and that for those that were doing all 4 quarters. And then some came rolling at the end. This was the second time around, and so I'd begin to start doing them. I'd do 1 or 2, and they'd kind of say, "Well, we're not sure if we want to pay for it and stuff." And then I let them do it and tell them how to do it, and they tried to do it, and they said, "Okay, we're going to pay for it," because they realized how much work it was to do. It was so hard for them to do it. They just, when I heard how much time, they said, "We're going to pay for this." It's just no brainer. And what happened was I had a production speed of the first version of the platform that I was able to, I was able to kind of get a certain amount of, I was able to package the amount of time per minute of audio and how much editing time I could do. And I'm not going to tell you what those exact figures were, okay? But I was able to get a range and get that down to where I could estimate it really well. I didn't estimate exactly. I just need to estimate so I'd get a range so I could just let them quote it. And this is how much it could cost. But it was interesting. Let's say it was really interesting. And the production speed I was able to, with the new jump to the new version, it was a lot easier editor, a lot easier things. So I got a pretty good jump in productivity speed. That really made it interesting for the and the quality was, I was able to invest more in the quality of the things rather than more typing and doing returns and stuff, because I wasn't no pedals, okay, I was just using the keyboard, and really just sped up the whole thing. And the cool thing, I mean, I really got it down to 99.9999999% accuracy, okay, after the editing. And it was not that, but because I was getting really familiar with the text, really familiar with the content, the voices too, and I could actually was able to. I had some of the non-native speakers. I knew their idiomatic phrases they'd be using very frequently. It's just the things would get repeated. The system would not be able to get them because their accent and some things. And I knew what their exact sentences were and some things, but I knew all the product names, all these product names, acquisition names, all these named entities that was always getting wrong. It'd get it close, but not. I'll kind of give a joke, like S4 HANA, S/4 HANA is a product, which is known, but the system gets S4 FOR Honda. Those are kind of things you get. Those kind of mistakes. And some of them were pretty accurate, spaces and like business objects. I'll give that example. Business objects are it's an acquisition name, and they're real words. Okay, they're real words. But it would say business space objects, and it wouldn't capitalize it. Business is a word, and objects is a word in the dictionary. It would say business space objects, no capitals, no branding, right? Um, and like Field Glass is a company name. I mean, it's a product name of God that we would call a company that we acquired. So Field is a word and Glass is a word with a space. It would insert spaces. It would know that this is a brand name, right? And Success Factors is another brand name. That acquired company. It would get Success as a word and Factors as a name, and it would put a space. It would add a space in, no capitalization, no. And so these were kind of lots of the common things are there. And this is not anything confidential. This is kind of just the way it's for speech system. It's going to have the same problem in any speech system. It doesn't matter. And this was a licensed one. So what we did was I kind of figured out that I didn't need to put the branding in because it didn't matter. Because the hard of hearing, all they want is accuracy. They don't care if it's accurate for branding. They care if it's accurate for understanding. And they know what success factors is. It's not the success factors. It's not the factors of success that we're doing. It's our company called Success Factors. They knew this, or business objects. They know that we're not talking about the business objects that you're putting in analysis of. They know this is the company called business objects, right? So it didn't matter if I cleaned it up. I didn't need to clean it up. Didn't need to do over engineering it. It wouldn't matter. So what I did is I just did minimal post editing of the speech, and it got it really, really close. Just high quality. And the people's names I had to look up, especially the people's names that had to be, they were German. There were German people's names that people were saying in English, and so that's tough. And with an English speech text system that's trying to get these German names that people are saying they've anglicized the name on top of it, or kind of, or they don't. Sometimes they'll say the person's name, pronouncing it in the German way, but the English, and that's what you get. So it's really funny. But it was all repetitive. So I'm beginning to get to know these things, and I never over-engineered the quality. This is the key thing. Don't over-engineer it. Don't make it more than you need to be. And at the end, I would just do the caption stuff, give it, and then people at the end, I give them the transcript. I give them the transcript, and I just do a transcript file, and I give them a Word file from it. And then people come back and say, "Can you do all the branding? Can you clean up the branding?" I said, "That's not what I'm doing for you. So if you want that, you do that extra. I'm just doing it for the hard of hearing, so they have something." The people that can't hear at all, and the people that can't have problems hearing. Okay, but especially the people that just cannot hear at all. They're just deaf, legally deaf. They need this, and boy, they were just loving it. They were, and they got to the point where they were saying they would want to wait one day for my quote, than to actually do the live caption, to have the live transcription, because of this, that my stuff was just so top quality. It just was totally understandable. So they were willing to wait one day. And so that's why I wanted to get the service. It would be the turnaround service really quick. So I would do like sometimes 2 a day. This is kind of intense. When I get 3 days, it's kind of tough because you got these overlapping, 4-hour jobs. You just can't do 3 or 4 of these in one day. It's just not possible. So even with the speed production I had it. You can only do so much, and you get the same errors and stuff. So so what happened with this just turned into a great thing. And the problem was it was a victim of its own success because it got to be so successful. And at the end of the year, I got so many requests. I couldn't do it by myself anymore because I couldn't even take days off for family. Or my kids would be out taking the birthday parties for bowling parties, and I'd be sitting there working on these transcripts and these caption stuff while they're doing bowling. I'm trying to get this done. I get to do online in the system because I have an internet connection that's really good. So because you got to be doing this online. You do it offline, I could lose all my. If I do this offline with files and not having the link and the integration, I just lose all my productivity. It just won't work. I tried it. And it proved it was just not worth it. So there was really the integration system way it was done, and I really knew the tool really, really, really well. I really master Jedi because just really was. And I could actually have them do self quotes and just say, "Hey, for this amount for every 15 minutes, this is how much it's going to cost." Basically, I did in 15-minute segments, and so if it's a 30-minute session, a 45-minute session, a 1 hour session, a 75 minutes, just a 90-minute session, I could just tell them. I could just quote how much. You determine how much it is in 15 minutes. You round it up to the time for 50 minutes, and that's how much it's going to cost you. I didn't even have to listen to the voices anymore. I knew. I just had to round it up. That's all. So that was fine. And it worked out really well. I got it really down to the package was really right. It was self-service quoting. And then we got to the point where it just didn't scale it. And we didn't have anybody who could do any work. Or we couldn't get volunteers to do it because it's kind of hard to get volunteers to work for this kind of kid. You got to be available at certain times. And we couldn't do it. And we couldn't get any students. We didn't get the budget for the students. We couldn't get a budget to do anything. So we just kind of had to give it up. So we had to do is we were able to transfer it over to another department that was able to pick this up. That had tried doing this, and they weren't too, but I was, had really productized this thing, or really industrialized this thing. So it got transferred to the department, and so what that didn't happen immediately. So we kind of had to let it go to some subcontracted providers and all that stuff, and they weren't doing this quality. My quality was like top stuff. But then what he did is never get yourself stuck in the rut. My job is to always work myself out of a job, right? I've always done this. So what I did was, I investigated if we could override this thing with my work. And I said, if I can create some dictionaries based on the frequency, the highly frequent stuff, we do this. So we figured out with the platform, people with those license, that we could have a certain dictionary size. I'm not going to say how big it was, but it was not big, okay? Because this is not where you can just throw a 5 million term database at it. You'll crash the system. Okay, there's no way. So it's got to be really small. And so I went through some. I knew what the high hits. I knew what the high hitters were that were going to take a lot of changes. I knew what they were. I just didn't know all these things. And I knew. So I did, of course, like the business objects. I'll give that example. I did it so that every time I heard business objects, it would do the branding of it for me automatically. The success factors or field glass. So I was actually just letting it go before because it was understand. But here I'd code it in to the dictionary and say, I want it to be written like this. And that worked really well. I'll tell you, that worked really well. And it's the one time it comes up this business fact and business objects for the business objects in the something, because a business object could be like in the business configuration management system. That's no big deal. It's like one time fix. It's no big deal, and it's still gonna be understandable. So it wasn't really a big deal. And how many? It just the number of occurrences that will be wrong. You got wrong is so low compared to all the things they're gonna get right. It's just, and we had the same thing in the conference paper that Chris Hogan and I did in the in the year 2000 for. Creating an automatic post-editing module, APE, for translation, automatic translation for the European Commission text. And we had ran into some problems. We came to the same conclusions. If we can get 75%, of improvements, updating patterns and stuff, then the 25% of the missed hits that might be wrong are worth having them being wrong, because you're getting 75% of correct patterns that are going to be corrected. So we had the same thing here, but here was even better because so I built this dictionary. I can't say how big it is, but it was not big. Okay, it wasn't that big. But I had to really decide what I wanted to put into it, and you needed the things that were going to give me the best corrections for the amount of times that the repeats were happening, and we did that. And I'm really proud of it. Really proud of it. It was a manual dictionary, and I could have proven it more as some text mining stuff, but it was all I knew what this stuff was, and I could do some checks and stuff. And so I did some pre-testing of it and post-testing it because I had all the videos already. I could run the system. I could run the original version 1 system and the version 2 to see what the improvements are those two. Then I would do some testing of all this dictionary words. I would go through and I would make a list of just list out all the words that were having problems, and I'd go through and kind of just make sentences up using those words, saying it just to do the testing afterwards. Um, and I'd kind of play with my accent a little bit, kind of play with it, kind of make it a different accent too. That helped. But I was able to test at the end, and the goal was how much improvement can you get on that list of terms or words or vocabulary items that we put into this dictionary that could override the speech system, the speech text. And I had different levels of recognition, kind of the evaluation. I didn't want to have levels of 10. It had to be kind of a level of 3 to 4 different types of correctness. Okay, kind of like good, bad, and ugly. Okay, but it was like it was great, good, bad, and ugly. Okay, I'll say that that's what it is. Yeah, great, good, bad, and ugly. Okay, that's my test evaluation. But it did help, and by doing that, the great, the good, and the bad, kind of bad, we're still kind of all okay, because even the bad or the almost bad, um, it's still in context. It's understandable. You can still understand it. But the ugly you just don't understand at all. Okay, so that's when someone's German name is just don't understand at all when you say it in English, because the English system's not getting it. It's not getting it. But the rest of the stuff was pretty good, really, really pretty good. It was great, good, and kind of bad. So I kind of chunked those together, had some estimations, and grouping those together and all that, we came down to the final analysis that we got 82% improvement. 82% improvement with the great, the good, and the kind of bad, chunked together as still understandable. Okay, versus the 18% that's ugly and you can't use it. Okay, so off of the number of terms that had been put in the dictionary and repeated several times, because they would be used several times actually in the text and these videos and stuff. They come up, and on the testing they come up because you'd be saying several times, and we got 82% improvement, and that's really good for stuff for the most common, most frequently common used terms, and a lot of videos that are being uploaded that are very important ones for like these town hall meetings and all hands meetings at high levels. And that we actually reflected too. We had our department, and we had another department that was doing it too, but they were kind of testing. That was the team that actually took it over in the end, and they've been continuing on with this. But it's I'm proud to say that we actually did make a significant dent in the entire process of doing that. We automated. I worked myself out of a job. I'm not being requested to do it anymore. We are impacting thousands of videos per year, thousands, tens of thousands, with this subtitling dictionary. And I was able to charge a fee that was appropriate, that was really appropriate. And I was able to optimize and package it and make self-coding out of it, self-price coding. So and in the end, what we're doing is, this is not to replace people. Okay, I want to make sure that people understand this is not to replace people. This allows a team of people that are doing this to do more of these, to offer more service, to do more of them in the same amount of time. And that's what they're able to do with the tool. Okay, because my whole goal was to say I can do more of these things because I'm getting faster. I'm able to offer the service to more departments or more divisions and even more departments who are willing to pay for it, willing to pay for the service. And after they've tried to play with it once or twice, do it yourself, they just give it to you and then they hear about the quality. And all these people are it's word of mouth marketing, so you doesn't have to market too much. I just had to package it and say here's the fee and all that kind of stuff, and it's totally worked. So for anybody that's working on subtitling, caption editing, transcript stuff, and kind of wondering what you can do, and it's not getting paid for it and stuff, you can, because I did it. And this is an internal service, okay. Sometimes internal stuff costs more than external, and I kind of had to play with the fees and make sure that it was, I didn't want to be making people pay for the the, the, the overhead costs of stuff. I wanted to be paying for the service, so I kind of had to adjust that, just so it was competitive. But the whole thing was to come down to a way that was really providing a great service. And so all of you that are doing posting, kind of um, subtitling, caption stuff, you're saying that it's low prices, do better quality. Um, Ask for the stuff, ask for the stuff, ask for the notes, ask for the stuff. You got to force them to give it to you. Don't sit there and get stuck in stuff that's crap to do. Okay. Now my stuff, I knew my content, I knew all these products. So I said I want access to this, or I won't do it. If I had been in the position of people that were outside and didn't have access to the Outlook, the name, people's names and stuff, or I didn't have access to that, and I wasn't familiar with the vocabulary, I would just like yank my hair out. So, so I just made sure that I was best positioned to be able to do this, and I had the access to the content that I would need for the org charts, for the people's names, for that kind of stuff. Made sure I had that, and for the speaker's notes. Don't have the speaker's notes, forget it, because you're just guessing. So, and there are ways you can do this too. If you're not internal, you can say you want to have the list of the people's names that they're going to cite and all that kind of stuff. That helps a lot. There are ways to get around this, but so I do want to say that it is possible to make people pay full price. Okay, it's possible to that. You can do it. You just have to know how to pitch it. And I think a lot of people are not very good at pitching this. So, and you have to get good quality, and I did. But I gave the quality. I set my level of quality, and I said I will not brand things. I will not give branding things. I will not. I will not. And I stuck to that. And I didn't over-engineer it, so I didn't waste my time. Don't ever over-engineer, folks. Some of you language lovers are over-engineering your subtitles, okay? Because you're doing too much to change the stuff where you don't need to. And capitalization of sentences is unnecessary. In fact, punctuation in most things is unnecessary, okay? I just threw commas in there. I just threw commas in, just segment it up. Didn't matter, okay? I didn't put full stops and periods in there. Didn't matter. I didn't worry if business objects had a space or capitalization. Don't worry about it. Field glass. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And I told people they don't need it. They don't need it. I convinced them, and that made less work for me, right? It did. When I built my dictionary, I just sped up the whole thing, right? In the end. Well, actually, I never actually did the thing after, because I just built the dictionary and said it's ready now. I'm out of. Hey, I don't need to be doing this anymore. And so it made way less work in the end after for the other teams doing this. But the thing is, don't over-engineer, and that's going to cost you. And you need to convince your customer that you should not over-engineer. If you think that your value is putting extra capitalization and stuff at the hard of hearing you're getting, and they're just happen to have anything, you're over-engineering it. And you're driving down the price. Keep the price up. Keep the price up, and promise them that they're going to have understandable stuff. You got to learn how to pitch it. Okay, I'm warning you. You got to learn how to pitch it. And don't let your company or something tell you got to put the branding, because they're wrong. They're wrong. Okay? Because subtitling, this is the difference between caption editing of internal divisional meetings. It's perishable information. It's going to disappear in like a week. It's not going to matter. It's content now or no. And in 2 weeks it'll be 3 weeks about another one. It won't matter. Okay? That you don't need capitalization. You don't need all this branding stuff. That you need for long-term preserved content that will stick around for a long time, in like tutorials or learn e-learnings for the entire company and that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's that, but not the rest. So you got to be careful about where you make the changes and how you make the changes. You don't want to be spending editing on things that are just like appear once. Okay, you got to be careful of that. Minimum post editing. I'm saying minimum post editing. I'm going to repeat this: minimum post editing. Minimum rapid means don't over-engineer it. And anybody that tells me that you should over-engineer and do it and change in quality because quality and stuff. No, because it doesn't matter. Because the people just understand it. Okay. And I saw this happen in the whole machine translation post editing field too. Seen over engineering happen way too much there too, way too much, and it caused the cost to go up because you got to spend more time on it. So same thing with this monolingual stuff. Don't over engineer, okay? Um, and I've given you some examples of what those are without citing too much. So so turn it to a really good success. And I've given you all this. I've given the stats I can give you, and I can't give the content away, okay? Because it's all going to be internal content. I just can't give it away. But people are used to me doing productivity stuff in the language industry, and they know I've written about it before. And I always got found ways around it to be able to do it on other content I could publish. So I'd like to. It would have been fun to be able to do this on content that was non-SAP content and run it through the system. I should have thought about this ahead of time and done this on a content that was like generic. Well, but then I wouldn't have been able to prove it. Well, no, I could have. If I had done this well, no, I bet I needed audio. I didn't have audio. I didn't have the things. I do have content, printed content I could have used. But the problem I don't have it. Okay, what I could have done, could have done. No, but it still wouldn't have worked. I could have done was taken all the multilingual press, the press release and stuff that I did on my multilingual translation dictionary project, and I could have pronounced them all right. But the problem is, it would have been always my voice. I could have had other people pronounce it. I could have done it that way, and made other people pronounce these different press releases, and done it that way. And it would have been kind of a fun project to do. That would have been the closer way to do it, because I wouldn't have people with different accents, German accents, French accents, and kind of do this kind of stuff on speaking English. And then doing things with different press releases with different accents. That would have been closer to this concept here, but of course I didn't do it. Now, what I could do, I could turn this into a project. You give me some ideas here. You're giving me some ideas while I'm doing a video for all of you, okay? So I could take all those press releases that we did from the multilingual press, the empty dictionary thing in 2006, 2005, 2006, one of those 2 years. It's been a while. 15 years, my memory lost the exact year. I'd have to look up my list of publications. It's called MT Dictionary Building. I could take those and actually use the same ones and give them to a bunch of colleagues and ask them to just record them. And then we run it through the system and see what it does, and see how much errors it makes, and then build a dictionary on it for just that, to be able to prove that we can actually tweak that one too and see this result in it. You give me some ideas here. So yeah. So but I need to get some approvals to do this thing, but I think I can do this, because then we have something to talk about. Okay, then I can talk about it in the conference talk. I know all you want me to do this. Just send me a message saying you want me to come give the conference talk about this. That will be able to give me some leverage to be able to come do this and actually do this kind of project. But I have to get the people to do the voices these things. But that's okay. I think I can get them to do that too. I think it's possible. So it's if they can participate in like a cool, we'll all get cited and stuff. We'll be glad. They'll all be happy. So kind of future project. But I got the content, and it's all publishable. And Multilingual would be happy to have us use it for a project to say that they got cited in the project that we write a magazine article about, right? So yeah, that'd be cool. Got some thoughts going here. So I've given you as much as I can without getting myself in trouble, without asking for approval. That's okay, because this stuff is generic stuff I've been talking about. I'm just kind of giving volumes of content. There's nothing more than that. No, I haven't given you any of the factors of productivity. I've given just one statement about the improvements on a list of number of words you have no idea how many there are. Okay, but it gives you the idea of what can be done, and it kind of gives you the idea of the kind of way it can be done without giving away how exactly it was done. Right? So thanks for listening. I had no idea how long it's going to be. It's probably 40-minute video or longer, probably 45 minutes longer. I don't know. I almost scared when I finished this thing saying, how long did I talk? But I've given you probably the equivalent, basically, a conference talk. Okay, so and hopefully giving you enough information that makes you want to do this. Okay, and some of all you subtitlers that they're doing subtitling, it's like you want to make money off this. Okay, now of course you got to do it the way I did it. You got to listen to the things I said not to do, and don't fall in the trap of being told you got to do it a certain way, because you'll lose money doing that. So come to me with more questions, and I'll be able to answer some of those questions with specific videos about how I would do it with your situation and how I pitch it to get out of the situation that you're in. Okay, that's the kind of stuff I like to be able to do to help you, um, because I was able to determine I set down the law of how I did these things, and I said I'm going to do it. There was no one telling me how to do it. Okay, no one telling me you can't do this. I said, well, you don't want me to do it that way, then I won't give you the service, and you won't get it. And so they don't want that. All right, no, they didn't want that at all. They want it. So everybody let me do it the way I did it. And the customer feedback, that is, those that are listening, especially the hard of hearing, was like just flying high. I'm serious. They were loving it. I'm saying, I do say it. They rather give up the live transcription, live broadcast transcription, with just people listening on their phone and doing the transcribing stuff, because it wasn't accurate enough compared to this that had to wait a day for. Usually wait for the next day. Get the thing, bam, they read it, and they could watch it with the subtitles embedded, or they could read the transcript, and they were happy. I'm telling you, there are lots of great feedback for that. Some said they could get it faster, but hey, one person work on it. Can't be a Superman. Well, I tried. So it was kind of thing being Superman and Clark Kent at the same time, because I have to be two of these a day. Yeah, you can't play double role. So, but you got people that know how to do this, and that skill is a skill, and a very valuable skill. Yeah, that's a very valuable skill I've got now. So I'm kind of we called me the father of machine translation post editing before. That was before I had gray hair. Now I got the gray hair, and then we can call me the father of speech text monolingual post editing. Hey, I love it. I got a new title, so that's kind of fun. But I'm glad to share it. Glad to be able to share this. Glad that those of you that are interested in this are listening to this and still here with me, because I've tried to explain how I did it up to a certain point that I can say it without going through all the improvement process to have to do it. And maybe we can do a little more formal thing in a conference with a little more testing and be able to show the content. But I'd have to. It'd become a project, and like I said, I got to get approval to get that kind of thing, to get other research to work on it. If I do it all with my voice, I'll do it all with my voice. But the problem is that's kind of, yeah, I know my voice works with a speech system pretty well, and I'm not going to sit there and try to kind of imitate a bunch of other voices to make myself sound like a German. I can speak French with French English. I can speak as English with a French accent. I could kind of that, but if I try to do that with a bunch of accents, it's going to be tough. I'd rather have people doing it that are a bunch of people doing it, but get some ideas. So thanks for listening. Spend some time, and hope this helps you to figure out what you need to focus on if you want to continue in this type of work, which and this is captions. Okay, this is closed captions, some open caption, closed captions. I have not talked about subtitles, true subtitling. Okay, true subtitling in movies and stuff. This is stuff you do for these department meetings or division meetings. We're starting into commercialized film. That's a different thing. Okay, and that's where the branding does come into play. This stuff doesn't matter, the branding stuff. So here was captions. I call them subtitles. I call them subtitles because it's easier to explain to it. Subtitles. People know what subtitles. Talk to captions, people know what the difference is. So I just try to simplify that vocabulary too. Okay, so it's not true subtitling of like films and movies and games. Okay, it's not that type where you're selling it to people and they want to expect higher quality. This is the kind of stuff where it's perishable content that will disappear and be invalid and obsolete within 2 to 3 weeks. So that kind of thing. Okay, so there we go. We've got everything you need to know. break your leg and do everything you can with this to do well and make money, and to improve your productivity, and to have more time to do other things, to have a balanced work life balance, that kind of thing. So yeah, have fun, take care.